Yes, I am, and I'm live. What's up, baby?
Sorry, I wanted you to look at something before it gets taken off of Wikipedia.
Is this a voice in my head? Everybody, Doc. It's a daily dose of Doc. I've changed the title. It was going to be 100 days of Doc. You know what? I'm full of way too much slack for that. So it's going to be a daily dose of Doc. I'm going to try and do 100. Or, and it happened Mother's birthday. Hello, Mother. Happy birthday. Yes, my mother is actually a fan of the show, and I am a fan of her. She's the one who kind of raised me to grow up and speak my mind. Hey, how you doing? Daily dose of Doc. Viewing weed news. Have y'all been paying attention to what's going on? I'm sorry, that's a very sanctimonious kind of way of saying that. There's a lot of really cool shit happening in the world of weed news. And I've got lots of different sources that I like to refer to, and it's something of just because I am a writer in the cannabis space. I'm an editor in the cannabis space. I'm a graphic designer in the cannabis space, and I'm something else in the cannabis space. I can't remember right now. Doc Beans, how's it going? But we've been taking a look at what's been going on in Illinois ever since they went legal last year. Did you see the news? They were projecting they were going to make over $1 billion in 1 year from medical and recreational combined. Guess what? They did it. They actually have enough numbers in to quantify the fact that they made $1 billion in 1 year for one state, Illinois, the one in the middle. I was saying it yesterday. It's the thin one. It's not even one of the fat ones. Of course, it is pretty tall, and I don't mind tall at all. I understand, but yeah, they actually made over $1 billion in Illinois alone. There's now 35 states where you can get legal weed. Most of that is medical only. The people are coming along slowly, and that was the loophole that we had to try and use to wedge our way into the door and finally say, enough! We, the people, are speaking up. We are taking back our American roots, which happen to be rich in hemp. Hemp made this country great. It's making Illinois even great. Congratulations. Stellar reviews. They're talking about it being, by the time the industry kind of levels out and about it being like 3 billion. That's one state. If we were to all pool resources, if we were to all come together, if they were to reschedule cannabis as Schedule 2 or 3 or Schedule 1 is ridiculous. That's for hardcore pharmaceuticals and opiates and things like that. That's for when you go with Dorothy through the poppy field and the witch put you to sleep. That's exactly right. That's the kind of thing that we want to stay away from. But yeah, um, several states are with recreational as well, or adult use as they like to call it. And looking forward, voters have approved more legislation to be coming up. Voters approved a slew of marijuana legalization initiatives um, during last November's election in states around the country and across the political spectrum. You know what? I just realized that my microphone's not even turned on. Welcome back to a daily dose of Doc. You never know what you're going to get with me. Like complete technical ineptitude. That's me. Now I'm going to plug this in, and you're going to hear the difference between an internal microphone and a still very effective external mic. Let's make sure that my sound is actually using that tech. Hopefully it made a difference. If not, I will come back and I will make sure that my microphone is plugged in the right way tomorrow for a daily dose of Doc. If I manage to do it. As I said, full of slack. And if I'm not, if I'm lacking in slack, I always carry a little pocket full. So I'm good in the slack department. This is actually Purple Punch, which is a nice little hybrid, relatively high in indica. A lot of people experience relaxation and bliss. In today's modern, hectic world, who's to say that we all don't need a little bit more bliss? Somebody needs to let me know in the comments believe it or not, this is all part of the show. Somebody needs to let me know in the comments whether or not my new microphone turned on. Yes, I've never been more inept in my life. Who gave this man a camera? How dare you? He's going to ruin the face of the internet as we know it. That is my mission, Doc Beans. We are taking a look at weed news. That's really what my shtick is. I write weed news, I write weed stories, weed features, websites to up. I don't know. The computer went on. Did it go blank on my feed? Maybe I just kept talking through it and plowed through. We're having technical issues here on the Doc Bean Show. Actually, I've been tech all week long. It's like a gremlins or something. So maybe 2020 guys getting exercised out of my computer, getting around because weird things have been happening. Contacts have been dropping out of my contact list, and it's gotten complicated. I've actually combined my account with some families are coming together, so a lot of accounts are coming together, and it seems like we're finding all the little glitches. At any rate, back to weed news. What you're tuning in for and what I'm here for. Voters approved a slew of marijuana legalization initiatives during November's election in states around the country and across the political spectrum, but activists aren't slowing down. They expect that 2021 will see another surge of reform in state legislature. The state movement has demonstrated that there's strong bipartisan support for the policy change. Lawmakers are increasingly taking note of voters' appetite for reform as demonstrated at the ballot box, and there are already signals that the new year could see significant developments on the issue in states across the country. Quote, 2020 was an unprecedented year in many ways, including for marijuana reform at the federal and state levels, Carly Wolf, State Policies Director for NORML, told Marijuana Moment. And that is actually where I'm getting one of my sources for this story. Marijuana Moment does a really good job covering a lot of legislative features when it comes to cannabis. And it's one of the sources that I use personally of information. Not just one breast. Not a pair of breasts. A breast. I am abreast of all the marijuana information. This is just one of the sources. There's a lot of great places. What places do you like to get your information from? If you have none, maybe that's one of the reasons why I'm here. So, what states can we expect 2021 that are most likely to place legislation on the 2022 midterm ballots? Well, let's take a look. November's clean sweep of marijuana initiatives. That's another thing. I covered that story back in last November. Every single marijuana initiative that was on the ballot passed. We're riding a wave right here. We need to keep a sense of culture and community and come together amongst ourselves. As I started working in the cannabis field, I realized that everybody there, as diverse a background as there were, as diverse and as many backgrounds as there were, we all had one thing in common, and we all knew what that was. So here's a breakdown of which states could legislatively advance reform in the new year. Likely to legalize recreational marijuana listed first, followed by those that are somewhat longer shots when it comes to ending prohibition, and then those where medical cannabis stands a good chance of being enacted. And that's something that I would like to ask all of us weedies out there. Those of us who are fortunate enough to live in a place where legalization has occurred, don't forget about our brothers and sisters who still live in draconian states where they have absolutely no marijuana legislation, and those who only have medical that isn't actually being enacted, and those who actually have medical that's new to come on board and still hasn't started fulfilling people's needs. And let's just pray for every political prisoner, too. Everyone who's ever been thrown in jail for a pot offense, somebody just selling weed. So, the states most likely to legalize recreational marijuana, Connecticut. There have been repeated attempts to legalize cannabis in Connecticut, but none have gotten over the finish line so far, according to this article in Marijuana Moment. And while it's no guarantee, the incoming Speaker of the House said in November that he feels like, quote, there's a 50-50 chance, end quote, that the reform will finally be approved in 2021. Those increased odds are due in large part to the fact that marijuana policy in the region is rapidly evolving, just like in the rest of the country, baby. It's putting pressure on the state to adopt new laws on the issue to match those of its neighbors. Not to mention the cash flow coming in from Illinois. Cha-ching! $1 billion, please. That is a heck of a square on Monopoly. Illinois Avenue. I always liked the Reds. Those increased odds are due in large part to the fact that marijuana policy, we already covered that. Quote, it is now legal in New Jersey. New York is coming. In Massachusetts, Representative Matt Ritter, Democrat, said. Connecticut cannot fortify its border. That's absolutely true. Why not cash in? Connecticut's beautiful. It would be even more beautiful after smoking a big fat doob and going out and checking out the coast. How fun would that be? Y'all need to lighten up. Go meet us in the middle. Okay. So Connecticut, there's actually a lot to say about Connecticut. Governor Ned Lamont, who's also a Democrat, said that legalizing marijuana in his state will bolster public health amid the COVID-19 outbreak, which is also true, by preventing cannabis tourism to surrounding states. That's just one of the ways. Not to mention buying weed from who knows where it comes from. So get on board, help your constituents out, and give them what they want, and make some profit at the same time. It's the American way. Cannabis is all American. George Washington grew it. Thomas Jefferson grew it. Thomas Jefferson was quoted as saying that the main view object of the farmer should be to spread hemp seed as far and wide because they knew it could be used for textiles, for manufacturing, for ropes, for a big fat nice doob too. Let's see, back to Connecticut. He said the governor said that officials have got to think regionally when it comes to how we deal with the pandemic. And I think we have to think regionally when it comes to marijuana as well. Absolutely. You ought to be proud of what your state's growers can produce. Check it out, see what can happen. Lamont and other top policymakers in the region have similarly said that the passage of a cannabis legalization referendum in neighboring New Jersey underscores the need for their states advance the reform in a regionally coordinated manner. Okay. Democrats increased their majority in Connecticut state legislature in November's elections, boosting the chances that legalization can succeed also in 2021. The governor said that the policy change is on the table and that it could bring in needed tax revenue. It will bring in needed tax revenue. If the legislature fails to act, top Democratic lawmakers recently said they will take the issue to the voters through a proposed constitutional amendment on the ballot in 2022. New Mexico. New Mexico is another state where lawmakers have tried to no avail to enact legalization in the past sessions. I really like the way they write here at Marijuana Moment. Well done, people at Marijuana Moment. I would scroll up to find out who this author is, but there's a lot to read. So New Mexico is obviously looking at legalizing as well. New York on board. Rhode Island is also coming on board. Virginia, that'll be another one that goes recreational here very soon. They just went medical and things are going well. And states that could legalize recreational weed, it's a bit more of a long shot, but Delaware is among them. You go Delaware. Maryland, so the Northeast is well represented. Minnesota and Pennsylvania for recreational. Wisconsin may go recreational as well. If you all work your representatives, let them know exactly how you feel. Let them know that you want to see marijuana reform on the referendum. You want to see weed on the streets. You want to see weed tax revenue go into good use. The states most likely to legalize medical cannabis include Alabama, Kentucky, South Carolina, which would be South Carolina is usually the last to go anywhere, or the first to secede, one or the other. No diss to South Carolina. It's a beautiful state. I know a lot of good South Carolinians, so hopefully we get this on board and you can do a little bit more than just hemp farming. Maybe you can actually have some medical weed that can help the chronically enfeebled and the ill and the weak and people that are just old like me, where entropy is taking its toll and your thumbs start to hurt and you get the sciatica and everything else. So thanks for joining me today. This is your daily dose of Doc. I just wanted to come around, fart around, and say, hey, how's everybody going? It's nice to see you. Smoke them if you got them. We got to do a digital smoke sesh. Anybody want to smoke with me? That'd be kind of fun. So just let me know. I'm here most times, and if not, I always check in at least several times a day. This is Doc Beans saying I'll read more in depth if you want me to, but that's like way too much initiative, man. Peace. Smoke, like I said, smoke them if you got them. I'm going to go do the same thing. So y'all take care of each other. Talk to you later on the next daily dose of Doc. Take care, FaceTimers. Adios.